Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the pod.
We are if you're watching, which
Someone better be.
I guess spoiler alert, we now have a YouTube channel, so you can watch us on YouTube. So if you're watching us, hey, we're recording 2 episodes
We
together.
look the same because it's the same day.
Why. And shout out to my hose reel in the background at my house. It looks really messy.
Hope you guys appreciate our
it's doing the job.
podcast background.
And we just want to say this episode is brought to you by listener Melissa, who bought us coffee. We're going to figure out a way for other people to buy us coffee in the future. I know one of my favorite Instagram celebrities, I was going to say trainer. She is a trainer, but she's also an exercise physiologist and a PhD. So she's so much more than a trainer. She often has this whole, like, you can buy me a coffee as like a thank you for my brain type thing, which I think is a great idea because while we don't have an official sponsor, we're still open to it. That's a nice way, not saying you have to, it's always going to be free. We're never going to charge for the podcast. We're not going to be like, yeah, join our Patreon so you can have exclusive content. We don't have exclusive content. We don't have an OnlyFans. We don't need one.
Although I have debated it many times, but I don't have one. So
buying us coffee would be, I know there has been people that want to give us stuff, and that's a great way to be like, hey, thanks. And then we know we love coffee. It's literally in our podcast.
Mm-hmm. And then it literally fits we used to do this all the time when we podcast in person. We would always be sipping on a coffee. So we can get back to our true lattes and lifting.
Back to our roots
but totally not expected.
Of 2020, 2021.
Yeah. Listen to the podcast for free as much as you want, but people are always like, how do I say thank you? And like, mostly share it, post it to your story, share it with a friend.
Subscribe.
Let us know that you're actually listening on the other end. Leave us a review. Like, those are really appreciated free ways to say thank you also, and they help our podcast grow.
Or let us know that you liked something and what you liked, because then we can do more of that. Anyways, so when see, this is one of those times
I shouldn't have used 2 last time.
I know, we have to come up with a win because we already recorded a podcast where we had a different win. You can't use the same one.
I had 2 workouts in a row, maybe 3, where I hit a PR in something. And I was telling a client about this. I feel like the week before you hit PRs is the week where you're like, ugh, I don't want to do any of this.
100%.
And then you like drag yourself through your workouts. And then shortly after, it's always when you start to hit PRs. And that's what I always say, like, the workouts you don't want to do are where the most growth happens. And the universe, or whatever you want to believe in, will always pay you back for your efforts. So like, getting through a week of like not loving workouts meant I was able to hit some PRs this week, which is always a nice little boost to be like, heck yeah, I'm strong. So
I always say to people, if they're feeling the grind, my next line is, you're about to PR. Or if you're like one of my running people, if you're feeling like low and you know, like, you're eating well, you're sleeping well, like, there's just no reason for you to be feeling blah or feeling flat, it's probably time to race.
Yep.
Usually that's what happens.
And I don't know if I gave an official update. I did switch gyms. I'm not going to name names. It's not hard to figure out what gym I go to if you're in the area, but I also don't need everyone knowing what gym I go to.
No, that's weird.
So I did switch gyms. I got away from Good Life, and it's been good vibes. I'm confident no one's going to take videos of me, and everyone there actually works out. So I'm not the weird sweaty human in the corner, because there's multiple of us.
And that's like a safety thing for women particularly as well. I know I've seen a TikTok this week that this guy was like, so I shared my location where I'm camping just to see if a bunch of random people would come and camp with me. And it's not his video that's the funny part. The funny part is the stitches, because it's just women that are like, I could never do that.
Why? I don't even want people, like, I don't even location tag on my Instagram unless I'm not home. Like I'll location
tag like Edmonton
or when I'm like on vacation. And that's actually, I've probably told this story on the podcast, but I actually had a terrible encounter at the Strathcona County, and I don't care that I'm outing them because they handled it terribly a long time ago, where this guy was like being so mean to me in the gyms, and they just didn't care about my safety at all. Like, and you were around for this. He would like follow me out to my car, and he like yelled at me in the middle of the gym. And since that day, that man is still blocked on my Instagram because I went and found him on social media first and blocked him before he found me. But since that day, I don't location tag anymore because I was literally terrified that he was just going to show up where I was.
And this, I don't have a story like that, but preemptively, I do not have like so on, if you know what Strava is, it's like a social media app for like runners and cyclists. So it uploads your run or whatever, and then you can like give people like a high five for like a good run, and it gives you like a PR if there's like a segment that you did faster or something like that. Anyways, I have my privacy boundaries set to like my entire neighborhood. So like you can't see where I live. There was no way you could find where I live or my regular like start and finish run routes. I have to go like way down into the river valley for you to even get like a little bit of my run.
And as much as
I don't care. And my whole profile is private too. You can't see anything unless I approve you.
Yeah.
And I still do it because I'm a female and it's fucking dangerous.
And as much as we would love to not have to do these things, like that's why I walk in a different pattern every time I walk my dog. Like there's just so many things to be aware of, but I am feeling more confident at the gym. I feel safer. I feel like if there was something to happen, someone would actually give a shit about it. So well, that's good. I think that's a really good win. And I know like most of our listeners are female, so you get it. Now that we're going into the vast depths of YouTube, if you happen to be a dude that is going to end up watching this, maybe this is an eye-opener into what you have to deal with. I did have a good moment with a male walking my dog the other night. We ended up like waiting at the light together, and then we were walking the same way, and he was going to end up behind me, and then he like switched sides of the sidewalk and still walked the same way as me, but like chose to be on the other side of the road. And I was just like, shout out to you, sir, for not having to make me like check my shoulder every 5 seconds to see if you're following me or not. And obviously maybe as a girlfriend, maybe as kids, whatever. But as soon as he realized we were walking the same way, he just like removed himself to the other side of the road. And I was like, thank you for not making me think you're going to murder me.
And really like, man, you know how many times I've like passed somebody on the sidewalk or the trail and like shoulder checked multiple times.
Every time I walk past a solo male, I'm like, don't follow me.
Even though I'm like running with like one earbud in or, taking appropriate safety measures, especially if it's like just me and my kid, I'm like if I don't have my dog with me, I'm like shoulder checking every 10 steps and making sure I'm like ready to sprint if I have to, which is a terrible way to live, but it's just
such is life, unfortunately.
My win is sort of workout related. So I've been having some patellofemoral pain, and that's that I should not be sitting cross-legged. So it kind of started happening after Sinister, and nothing major, just like annoying. And I've been doing all my little rehabby exercises in my workouts. But I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go to physio and get some needles and get some like massage happening so I can move on with my life. And I always do this thing with my clients when they're in pain. And I always ask them like, what do you think's going on? Because you're probably right with your suspicions. And I was like, I went on my Instagram and I was like, hey, I'm going to do this. This is what I think is happening. I think it's just residual from running all the downhills of Sinister and big volume, and I'm just recovering, and it's just kind of irritated. I went into physio, and literally my physio was like, yeah, you're exactly right. And I was like, so I just probably like, I'm doing all the right things, just need needles. And he's like, yep. And I was like, perfect. Like toss my hair over my shoulder. I am so smart. So that's my win, is that I was right.
I will say a PSA, because one of my friends is dealing with, she tore her ACL and then maybe her MCL or her LCL. If you're a doctor, like waits for MRIs right now are like a crazy amount of time. And if your doctor is not able to tell you which one is torn, go see like a good physio, a sports physio, just a good physio, because most of the time, like I don't think they can diagnose, but they can tell you. They can probably figure out which one it is, especially if they deal with a lot of knees, so that you can start your recovery and not be waiting 6 months for an MRI just to be like, oh yeah, this is the one that's messed up.
Yeah, there's definitely always things you can do. There's very little times when your like when your prognosis will be like no activity.
Yeah.
There's always things you can be doing. And also the other thing about that is like your movement and what you do depends on how much pain you're in. Like mine was irritated, and like I could have stopped running, but I was like, it doesn't get any worse. And it's not like, it's the kind of pain, if you're watching on YouTube, it doesn't make me go like this, which is my sort of, my personal guideline is if it makes you make a face, it's probably too much. And the reason I say that is because I hate when people are like, well, you can have like a 4 out of 10 on the pain scale, but like my 4 and your 4 are totally different. And then the other part of that I will finish off with, which is a little bit off topic, but we'll get back to it, don't worry, is when people say, well, if 10 out of 10 was like childbirth. And I'm like, okay, but only approximately, less than half of the population have done that.
Can't relate.
But now that I've gone through it, and I would have said that in the past, is 10 out of 10 being like childbirth. Now that I've gone through it, I don't think we can put that on the pain scale of everything else, because it is so different than any other pain you've ever had. And it's not different in that it's so much worse. It's just different, right? And because you're going through it to have like a great little tiny outcome at the end, I don't think that it's like
the same.
It's not the same. Like
it's
just not the same. It's not the same as me being like, oh, my shoulder hurts so bad. Yes, it's 10 out of 10, just like having a baby. It's not even on the same like spectrum. So I always just say like, put that aside and pick something else that is painful to you, because I don't think we can like say that. Like I want to know if you like broke your arm, or like, no, it's not helpful either. Because I also don't know, because then I'm going to be like, well, did you have an epidural? Because that's going to change how you feel your pain. Did you have
how many meds did you take?
Like I don't know how that person feels pain. So my rule is, if you make a face, it's probably a problem.
Yeah, I think that's fair, because I would put a 4 out of 10 as like, I don't even know if I would put tattoos at a 4 out of 10, but I have a really high pain tolerance. So like one time I took a client call during a tattoo. A lot of people think like tattoos are like the worst pain to ever experience. So depends on the person. My tattoo artist was like, are you on a client call right now? I was like, yeah. Why? And she was like, tattooing my arm. So like not everyone can just live life while they're getting tattooed. It's like 1 second, I have to take this call. But anyways,
back to our topic.
We are talking about, I guess it kind of goes with what we talked about of like pushing through the hard weeks, how to get around feeling unmotivated, how to parent yourself, for lack of a better term, and how to just like keep yourself consistent. This is inspired by, if you're on TikTok, Jess is on TikTok and she didn't know him, but like you guys might
not on that side of TikTok, but I bet you after today I will be.
He'll show up. If you follow Leo Skeppy on TikTok, he's one of my like favorite internet humans. I just think he's like funny and lighthearted, but also makes some like really good points, and it's tricky to find that balance. He has a podcast called Aware and Aggravated, which I also think is funny. And I listened to one of his episodes last night, and he was talking about the same topic of like, we got to be adults sometimes, and we got to parent ourselves, and you can't just rely on like motivation and someone to keep you accountable and like someone to do it for you, or nothing's ever going to get done.
Yeah. And I would say like as online coaches, yeah, like I can write the program and I can ask you how it's going and check in as many times as we need to, but I can't do the workout for you. And I think that, you know, people who are our clients, who they have to have that discipline even to just like, you're paying the money, the program is there, all you have to do is do it. And I know that that's hard, but yeah, sometimes we just have to like literally like be a grown-up.
Yeah. And he made a fair point in his podcast. He was talking about how like in today's society, we talk about how working out, feeding yourself well, and like sleeping are like the hard things these days. And he was like, those aren't hard things. Like those are basic necessities to living a healthy life. But we've just been like, so I don't know. I don't want to like make anyone feel bad, but I feel like our society now views everything as like, that's so hard to do.
Or like, this kind of like brings them like when everyone's like, oh, like I had to adult so hard.
Yeah.
And it's literally like, you know, like decluttering or something like that. And it's like, yeah, but like, shouldn't we just be doing these things and being the adults that we are, not needing a parent to like tell us what to do?
And I understand everyone's spectrum of hard is different. But if you view like getting a good night's sleep and going for a walk every day as hard things.
I mean, as a toddler parent, sometimes sleep is hard.
But if that's your definition of like, those are the hardest things I could ever do, your threshold.
No, I could do it. I'm just,
the
hard thing is the toddler, not my sleep.
If that's your version of like, oh my God, it's so hard for me to go for a walk every day. Sure. But your threshold of hard is about to get a lot bigger, because those aren't actually hard things, said with a lot of love. Like it's not that physically hard to go for a walk.
I think a lot of people think that there is that like all or nothing. So like a walk doesn't necessarily mean you have to dedicate like 60 minutes of your life every day. You could, if you're a very solitary person, you could start with 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then build from there.
But in the spectrum of hard, I'm sorry to break it to you, it's not that hard. Mentally, physically, if you're an able-bodied human, it's not that hard. But that also means your spectrum of hard is going to get a lot bigger. And then looking back, being like, oh my God, remember when I thought going for a walk was hard? It's not going to be hard anymore.
And I will say, like, it's not going to get any easier unless you do the thing that you think is hard right now.
Yeah.
Because soon that hard thing will seem easy.
And we say this with so much love, but like, sometimes you just have to suck it up and do it. Like, I understand that maybe you don't want to, or maybe you don't have the most energy, or your headphone died, or you
Did that happen to you the other day?
My headphones die all the time. The amount of times I would have to not work out. Like, if my threshold of hard was like, I have to work out without a headphone, half my workouts wouldn't get done.
It's upsetting, but like, you can do it.
Yeah, like, just get it done. You already got to the gym, or you already had the thought of going to the gym. Like, just go do it. And sometimes we have to just like parent ourselves and be like, no, you're gonna go do this thing because future you's gonna thank you for it. It's the same of like, he made a good point of, if you think you should do it, go do it. Like, I tell this to clients all the time. Like, if you're like, oh, I should go work out, that is the moment where I need you to get up, put your clothes on, and go to the gym, because that is a very brief moment of motivation. And if you lean into that a little bit, it'll probably get done. If you're like, oh, I should go to the gym, but I'm going to scroll on my phone for 10 more minutes, you've ruined it. You're probably never going to make it to the gym now.
Yeah. And, you know, there are ways that you can lower that barrier of entry when you have that fleeting thought, like, you know, having a little bit of workout equipment at home, something that's accessible to you, like a couple sets of dumbbells, you know, a yoga mat, like a little area where it's all set up. Parents, it can be difficult. So if it means that you don't change your clothes, or that you automatically, you just put on workout clothes just in case you find a snippet of time to work out, that can be it too. It doesn't have to be like, okay, kids, we're going to the gym. It's this big outing. Mom has to change clothes. I gotta get my pre-workout. I gotta get my protein. Like, it can look like that, but it doesn't have to. You could, you know, there was a day, I don't know, a couple weeks ago now, I was like, oh, I'm not going to have time to work out today because I really want to be outside because it was super nice. It had been raining. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bring a couple dumbbells upstairs. And we ended up doing a jog like to the post office, I think, to drop off a package, jogged home. That was like my warm up. And then I did like a little circuit outside with one set of dumbbells and called it good. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I got my workout in and we're still outside. Oh, the mosquitoes are terrible in Edmonton right now.
And it's the same. I think we can apply this to things outside of like workouts and nutrition to like, it just comes down to, you just got to suck it up and get it done. It's the same when it's like, oh, I should do my laundry. I should clean my house, or I should do the dishes. Get rid of the should. Just do it. Like if you have the time, and I think this is a big thing, like if you have the time in the moment where the thought goes through your head, just go do it. That's a big, like, especially with an ADHD brain. Mm-hmm. My life motto is don't put it down, put it away. Because I'm the queen of like, I'm just going to put this here, and then it lives there for the next like month. So you can apply that to like, if you're going to put a dish in the sink and you have 5 minutes to wash it, wash the dishes. If you're going to like move your laundry and you have time to put it away, put it away. Stop creating more future problems for yourself.
And I mean, we can recognize that this probably doesn't include people who go through periods of like depression and things like that. Because we know that sometimes the act of just like moving your body out of the bed is
that can be your hard thing for the day.
That is the hard thing for the day. So I would say like, this isn't for you if that's who you are, but for everybody else, you can even have like, you know, make a list of, you know, 3 things that you're going to do in a day. My to-do list in the span of this morning before Jill came over was like I had one big job and a couple little jobs, but man, in the half hour I had between finishing the big job and making lunch for my toddler, I got done. Like I did the laundry. I folded it and put it all away. Changed my kid's diaper because stuff like that comes up all the time when you're a parent. It's just like a thing. And you have to, because you have to. And then I actually ended up being able to grab a quick shower because I was sweaty AF after my big job. But I could have very easily just not done any of those things and then just been really gross and sweaty for my children with laundry in the machine.
Future Jess has some more problems. And yeah, those like little things don't usually take us as long as we think they're going to be either. And I also find piling up your little things can make it really hard. Like if you do have downtime and you're watching a show or you want to scroll on your phone, if in the background you have all these things of like, oh, I should have done the dishes today, I should have done my laundry, I should have, that's not going to let you actually rest and relax. So if you can take 5 minutes to go like get a couple of those things done and then watch your show without having this like background running of all the things you didn't get done that day, go handle a couple of the things.
I will say that I know a lot of parents are going to say that they don't like to do those things when their kids are awake, but I personally think, this is my personal parenting philosophy, is that if your kids see you taking care of the house and all the tasks, first of all, it shows them that the house doesn't stay that way on its own. And we have given our toddler, who's not 2 yet, little jobs that she can help, or parts of the job. So she does help unload the dishwasher, obviously, like not the knives, but she does know where most of the stuff on the bottom rack goes. And if she can't reach it, she waits for one of us and gives it to you, and then we put it away. But like things that are like on the bottom, like some bowls and things, like she knows where they go, which I think is incredible for a toddler. And she also helps sort the laundry. So I tell her to find everything in the pile that's hers and put it in a pile, and then I will fold it and we go and put it away together. She does help with the vacuuming, although she's very ineffective at that, but she has her own little, the vacuums with like the little pop thing in the inside. She has one of those. So if I'm vacuuming, usually she's vacuuming. She does help. We built her one of those little kitchen stand helpers, and her job for supper is to rip up the lettuce for the salad, and she knows how to do that. So doing all those things, I know it is like, it can take like so much longer to drag a toddler with you to do jobs, but
Eventually they'll be less slow and
it
helpful.
Is so important for them to see that and to see, you know, both parents doing different jobs or the same jobs just at different times, or, you know, and so like one of our values is that we are going to teach our toddler that everybody contributes to taking care of where we live. It doesn't matter. Like there's, you know, like, yes, maybe my husband will be the only person that mows the lawn, but like, that's something that we have to do all the time. And it's not something that we can skip, because if we skip mowing the lawn, then we can't play outside because the grass is long and gross and there's bugs, right? Yeah. So I think it's important to, if that is your obstacle, your children, enlist them any way that you can in an age appropriate way.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see how that translates to adulthood also, because like I had a friend when I was in school and her parents did everything for her, and that was very obvious as adults. Like I'm talking like her mom, she was 25 years old and her mom still woke her up for school. Like parents did everything. So if that was your life growing up and into adulthood, like on one hand, you're very lucky. On the other hand, it's going to make learning how to adult for yourself probably more challenging. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but we got to stop relying on like Jess said, with us making programs. Like your trainer can't force you to do the workouts. Your husband can't force you to do the laundry. Like eventually you're going to have to figure out how to get those things done for yourself. I'm a little biased because I live life as like, I don't want to rely on a man for anything. So I could probably let some of that go one day, but I'm also a single female who runs a business. So like, I don't need a man to do anything for me. But if you're like living life relying on someone else to like hold you accountable 24/7, that also comes with a lot of built-in excuses, which is not like, that would be like you having to wake me up every day and then being like, well, Jess didn't wake me up today, so that's her fault. It's like, you got to do things for yourself sometimes.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you said that, you know, what you were forced to do as a child, how that translates to an adult. Being a more effective adult. I totally agree. And like personal story about this. So this has probably come up a few times before, but when I was like 20, was in the military. And when you are in basic training, you have to like clean and like laundry, ironing, shining boots, like all those like little like dumb tasks. But the men in my platoon needed to be taught how to clean. Basic cleaning, basic ironing, you know, all those things. And it's like at some point in your life, you have to learn how to do those things, because otherwise you're going to be, I mean, it's your choice. If you want to live in filth, like live in filth, but at some point that's got to change.
Yeah.
And so it was very eye-opening to me at 20 that it seemed like only the 10 or 12 females in our whole platoon of 40 were the only beings that knew how to clean a floor properly.
That also becomes very obvious in the dating world. Like I'm pretty quick to like spot men where I'm like, your mother did everything for you your whole life and I'm not willing to be her. So like, gotta go. Like having to just like remind men constantly to do things like, is not what I'm here for.
You know, the kind of guy who like wouldn't notice you know, when the last time like the bedding was washed or the towels,
like because you think that just happens when you use by the itself.
Towels. You are not clean when you use the towels. They are full of dead skin cells. That is so gross. But like, and I'm the kind of person that's like, this towel feels crusty, laundry.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, not using that anymore. But I mean, it's up to you how often you want to do your laundry, but that is part of that whole like, I hate
just
like hashtag adulting, but like parenting yourself and being like, okay, I don't really have time to wash the towels today, but I did do that today. I did not have time to wash the towels today, but you know what? Once they're in the washing machine, they're kind of doing it themselves. Yeah. I'm not really washing them unless you are like a homesteader or something. Then I don't think you're listening to podcasts though. But going back to like focus, like you know, eventually you have to, like we've said this before, so I don't feel like I'm offending anybody, but you have to stop eating like an asshole. Mm-hmm. You have to, if you want to get strong, you're going to have to put in the work. You can't just go to the gym once a week and be like, I'm, you know, like going to the gym, nothing is working, but it's not working because you're not working.
If you want better for yourself in any aspect of your life, you're probably going to have to suck it up and get something done. And I know that probably sounds harsh, but like we hear it as coaches, we hear all the excuses, all the built-in things, all that, well, I couldn't do it because of this. And there is some valid reasons why things couldn't get done. But I would say,
shout out to all you parents that have sick toddlers.
Yeah, like it
makes it difficult.
Don't get me wrong. There is reasons why things don't get done. But a lot of the time we're looking for excuses of why it can't get done. And that's a big difference. Of like a sick kid, for sure, understood. You just didn't really want to, or your headphone died, or whatever. Like those little tiny things at that point, you're probably just looking for excuses. And it can be really challenging as coaches. And even when my friends kind of throw those like lame excuses at me, to not say anything about it. Like it is that fine line of like, how do I tell you you're looking for excuses, but like I also don't want to make you feel bad. But if you find yourself being like, oh, I should work out today, but this and that and another thing and another thing, how many of those were you just looking for an excuse to not do it?
Yeah. And realistically, if you are constantly like making those excuses, eventually you're either going to be very disappointed in the outcome, or you're going to have to massively adjust your expectations based on the work that you've put in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we come in with the, well, what did you do? Or, you know, I can look back in my coaching app and be like, well, you missed 10 of the last 12 workouts. So yeah, I would say you're probably not improving.
And it makes our job really hard too when people don't follow the plan or the program, because it's always going to look bad. This is more like coaching related, but it's always going to look bad on us. It's always going to be, well, I worked with Jess and I didn't see any changes. No one's ever going to tell the side of like, well, that's because I didn't do any of my workouts or follow my nutrition or check in appropriately or X, Y, and Z. We can't force you to do any of these things, whether they're fitness related or not. But the reason your life isn't changing, you're not seeing growth, you're not seeing progress, what are we looking for excuses with? Because I think that can be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow. But if you have a little thing like, oh, I couldn't go to the gym today because I didn't do my laundry. Okay, you haven't done your laundry for the last 2 weeks. So like we gotta
who has 2 weeks worth of clothes to wear like without like
not me, like, not workout clothes.
I'm thinking like even just like bras, or like, and I know people wear bras multiple days in a row. I'm not your girl for that.
But if you're finding like every week it's the same excuse, is it a valid excuse anymore? Probably not. Like when I see a consistent theme with clients, I'm like, okay, are we using this as like our default of like, well, I can't get it done because of this? Like, is that a convenient excuse for you to have? Or do we just need to like suck it up, change it, get it done, and move on with our lives?
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like that's probably a good place to
a little bit of tough love
you
for you guys this week.
Sit in your feelings, maybe digest this one a little bit. If you feel, I would say, if you feel called out by this and you feel slightly offended, maybe just take 5 and look inwards and ask yourself if there's a reason for that. And if you were like, oh, this doesn't apply to me, then good for you.
Yes. And don't get me wrong, like use tools and technology and strategies to help you get things done too. Leo made a fair point in his podcast. He was like, it's never been easier to be productive and stay consistent. Like with the amount of technology and reminders and things we have today, like we are given all the tools to get it. You just got to find the tools that work for you. Like he was like, imagine people like 100 years ago, how did they get anything done? Because like now we have to-do lists and notes apps and reminders and all these Google Meet calendars and all of these things.
I think not to make any excuses, but I think they probably had less to do. But it was also a matter of survival.
Yeah.
Right. So if we don't plant the garden and tend to it, we don't have food.
But it's just funny because he's like, how did anyone get anything done? If you think
said,
about
I could very easily just buy all my food, and I do have a pretty big garden. I wouldn't say it's huge, but I only grow things that I know we're going to eat. That's another way to just like if you want motivation to do something, like saving money is a great motivator, right? Wasting money is a great motivator for a 100%. Lot of people. So
yeah, use the tools you have, set reminders if you need them, schedule things in, all the things we tell our clients to do.
Sometimes even paying for a coach is the way to get yourself to do something. Invest in yourself so that you're like, if I don't do this, I am just throwing money away.
Everything's an energy exchange, and you get to decide what's worth that exchange. Like whether it's money or physical energy or mental energy, like you're exchanging to get anything done. You just got to figure out what's worth it. But like, make to-do lists, set it in your schedule, use the tools you have to get the things done. But at the same time, you can ignore all that. So you're going to have to adult eventually.
Parent yourself. Just
unfortunately, I know it's no fun, but like I promise future you will be thankful for it.
Agreed. So if you have thoughts on this, or maybe you have a win where you parented yourself, let us know. You can always head to our DMs on the podcast at Lattes and Lifting Podcast over on Instagram. And if you're on YouTube, thanks for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff.
This is also a really good topic.
It's the line.
Yeah. This is also a really good topic to send in a voicemail or just DM us with like, here's something I'm struggling with figuring out how to get it done, or here's like a barrier I'm facing with this goal. Help us. Help me. We'll help you. That was the wrong order, but you get what I'm saying.
We will offer you. This is also your opportunity for some free coaching.
Yeah. Give us the rundown of what struggle bus you're on right now, and we'll help you get off of it.
And if you are looking to follow me, it is at JLuck Fitness on all the socials.
And you can find me at coachjill.april, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.